Today we're hopping into the top reasons people are moving to San Diego. A lot of these reasons we're getting from clients who are reaching out, and we're having the conversations and they're telling us these are the reasons they're moving out. So these are from our research, from people reaching out just like you. So we're gonna get into them. Some of them we've covered in past videos, some are brand new, so stay tuned for the full video. We're gonna make sure we get you informed, let you know why San Diego is still quite the destination, why a lot of people are still moving here. So let's get into it right now.
First up, we have quality of life. A lot of people move out here because they want the San Diego weather, they wanna be able to go to the beach, they wanna enjoy just what we have here to offer, weather-wise especially, but also the fact that we're outside a ton and have that lifestyle. Part of that too is we don't have seasons, but we tend to have kind of moderate weather all year long. We just got out of a heat wave. All of us went ballistic for the last week and a half, but right now we're back to 75 and sunny, which is what the majority of the year is for us. And one of the big reasons that that is awesome is that it keeps us outside. It keeps us being able to keep doing the activities. Our kids play sports year round. It keeps us being able to go to the golf course, keeps us getting to go surfing. All those activities that we're doing outside, we can do year round for the most part.
And part of that quality of life, like Cassidy mentioned, is outdoors, doing different things. It's not just the beaches. Yeah, we have the beaches, and those are gonna be great at certain times of year. Summers, you're gonna get a little more packed because you have people coming out here, you have a lot of tourist activity coming out. Certain beaches are gonna be a little more busy, but there's a bunch of good times. We've been to the beach, like my family has been camping at the campgrounds by the beach, like during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, and you have some of these gorgeous days where it's not a white Christmas, it's like an 80-degree Christmas, where you're like, huh, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is not what I saw in the movies. So you have a lot of that, but you have the beaches. But then you have a ton of other stuff where you don't have to go to the beaches. A lot of mountain biking. There's a lot of little areas that you're gonna find if you wanna get outside. A lot of cycling too. Now the coast is a really big corridor for that, where a lot of people just go down to Coast Highway, and you could drive all the way from Oceanside all the way down to La Jolla. My neighbors were telling me they did that the other day. I forget how long it took, but there's ways to get down there, that whole stretch. And then there's also, if you go east, or if you go within little pockets within certain cities, you're gonna find some hiking. A lot of them are, I like to call it like suburban hiking, where you're within these little neighborhoods and you get to, go trailheads right outside your house basically. And then there's other areas as you go further east, when you go into the mountains, where you get lost. Well, don't get lost, but you can, it feels like, it doesn't feel like the hustle and bustle. You're not really, San Diego as a whole, it's not necessarily like a big city. It's like a bunch of little villages. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I mean, even one of the hikes I went to Black Mountain a few weekends ago, and if you look, you could see it through a lot of areas of San Diego. It's like got these big satellite towers or these big radio towers on the top. I've never been up there, and I've lived here my whole life, and you figure, hey, you lived here for, how old am I? 41 years. You've seen a lot. You've seen it all. I like hiking, I like getting outside, but still finding new little areas where, just look on a map, top hikes around San Diego, start hitting some of those. So there's just a lot besides just the beaches. I don't know if you guys could feel this wind. This is a nice coastal breeze coming from there. So we're not in 100 degrees, but it is a lovely day right here in San Diego.
One of the things too, just to piggyback on what Chris mentioned about the hiking, is you don't have to drive very far. So like even though there's a lot of trails within neighborhoods, we live around an area where you're a 5-minute drive to Harmony Grove, which has a ton of hiking up around the reservoir, this cool little creek that goes through. So even if you don't like that kind of urban hiking, it's really quick to get out in the nature.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people reach out from like Arizona recently, where they're trying to get out of the heat. They're moving to San Diego, get out of the heat, get through, get out of that. From the East Coast, get out of the humidity and all that kind of stuff, and move out here. One thing that we don't have, which adds to the quality of life, even though he just showed me a bug bite he had, we don't have a ton of bugs out here. My youngest gets a lot of bug bites, my other guy, not so much. But we don't have like a bug season where you have a mass of mosquitoes or anything, or biting insects coming out. Yeah, you will. If you're playing outdoors, we're outdoors all year, you're gonna get some. Where were you at, soccer?
Soccer practice.
Soccer practice. So if you go to soccer practice, you expect a few bug bites, but it's not like a main thing that you have to worry about, where you would think like some places in the Midwest or, the Minnesotas and that kind of thing, where bugs are, from what I've heard, not great.
Yep. And it's also the fact that we've had one of the wettest years kind of ever.
And we do have some bugs, just like everywhere else, critters and stuff. Like right now, we're at the end of summer, and right before that heat wave, everyone got attacked by ants. Like there was ants in everybody's houses. That lasted like a week. Now they've gone their own way. But we have things like that. If you're moving out here, something important. Yes, we have termites in houses. Nothing to be too afraid of. Any house you're going to get inspection, most likely you're going to find termites. But the quality of life here is probably the #1 reason people are moving to San Diego. And before we get into the next point, if you guys are thinking about moving out here, as a quick reminder, we're a real estate team right here in San Diego. We are the guys who answer the phones, calls, texts, and emails. You can see our number popping up right now. Feel free to reach out. We just want to help you out. If you guys have some questions about moving out here, whether it's 1 week from now or 1 year from now, feel free to reach out because we got your back when making the move here to San Diego.
The #2 reason is the variety of suburbs. So you think San Diego, you might think downtown San Diego if you've been here and you visited, but the rest of the county is not like that. San Diego has a ton of suburbs up and down the coast, inland, everywhere. You have a whole bunch of different types of suburbs. Also, a whole ton of different price points. As you go coastal, it's more expensive. You've got just a variety of different types of housing. We just left Lake San Marcos, which is up right around where we're at now, and it's all older single-story houses, and it's right next to a whole bunch of neighborhoods that are newer developments. So there's just a big variety of what you're looking at housing-wise.
All of San Diego too, it's like 100 years is like some of the oldest stuff you're going to find here. Like on the East Coast, you might find a historic property a few hundred years old. Out here, like 100, if it was built in like the 1920s, that's like ancient out here. This probably does have a historical landmark, designation. But a lot of the kind of the single-story, older communities were probably built in the 50s and 60s. As you get into some of the newer tract neighborhoods, you get into the 70s and 80s. Like Rancho Bernardo was built out as a giant master plan community right around during that time. So you have that style. Then you get into some of the, now they were newer, now we're getting newer, but like the newer master plan communities where you're getting like San Alejo Hills, you're getting into some in East County where you do have some of those as San Diego built out, as they expanded from the cities. It just got more and more of these developments. So a lot of different master plan communities. And then you have newer construction, which is something we're kind of lacking out here. You're gonna find a few areas, if you've been searching online, there is a bug here. Just a little fly, I don't think he's trying to bite me, but there's 3 routes down in Sorrento Valley. You're gonna find that. If you guys have searched online, new construction, that's probably one of them that's gonna pop up. There's a few up in San Marcos. There's a few down in Santee. There's a few in Chula Vista. A few different areas where you're gonna find some new construction. A lot of the new construction that we're seeing right now is gonna be townhome style. So a lot of people who have reached out to have thought, if San Diego, super expensive, can't afford it, and then they move out here, and they see, oh, well, townhomes is like different than like what I was thinking. It's not like condo. It's not like these high rises. It's more like a single family home. Maybe it's on 2 or 3 levels where you potentially have your own garage. A lot of them do have their own patio, or most have at least their own patio. Some have their own yards as well. So you might share a few walls, but they live a little bit more like single family homes, and the price points are going to be much more affordable than your single family home that you're going to find right here in San Diego.
When people think San Diego, also, they kind of think about that beach vibe. It's not all like that. So definitely every village, every area has its own kind of feel and its own kind of vibe.
And one thing we don't get into a ton right on this channel is higher education. We talk about the school districts and the schools and what different areas feed to where for, especially if you got kiddos, elementaries, middle schools, high schools, all that's super important. But one thing that San Diego also does have is a bunch of bigger schools, bigger universities from San Diego State, UCSD, USD. There's a bunch of really good community colleges as well. I was just talking with my folks who live up in San Marcos, and Palomar, which is a college I went to. Community college, super affordable, but it's also right in the same city as Cal State San Marcos, another university. But Palomar, they have some really great sports programs over there. They just rebuilt their stadium. They have rebuilt the softball field. So even though they're like a smaller school, it's community college, it's like a 2-year college. It's one of the better colleges right around here.
And what does this higher education kind of do for San Diego? It creates a lot of jobs. I mean, these are huge universities, big community colleges. So a lot of those higher education jobs are here in San Diego. And also, it brings people here that have kids going to those colleges. We've recently met with some clients that are in that situation where they have a kid that's going to start at one of the colleges here in San Diego, and they're going to move out here too.
And even if you're moving out and you want to be near your kids during college and they want to kind of do their own thing, You could be in areas of San Diego, like I grew up here. I grew up in San Marcos. I didn't necessarily go away to school. I went to Palomar for a few years, then I went to San Diego State. But even the distance between there, it's like 30 miles from San Marcos to San Diego State, Mission Valley. It's not that far, but it's a different, you have your own life down there. You're especially if your kids are going to school, they're not going to feel like you're all in their business if they did want a little bit of that privacy, but you also want to move down here and live with them. So you do have that option too.
Number 4 on the list is healthcare. Obviously, living here, having great healthcare is a huge bonus, but it's also great for jobs also. There's a lot of opportunity here. You've got Palomar Hospital, you have Tri-City, you have Scripps, you've got Kaiser, we have Rady's Children's Hospital, which is one of the maybe most important ones here. There are just a lot of high quality medical facilities here in San Diego.
Another benefit of having all this infrastructure around is jobs. We've had clients move out and start working at some of these facilities because there's a lot of them around. So depending on which neighborhood you live in, what city, a lot of my family, we have some nurses in the family, I have some firefighters in the family. So utilizing all those resources around here as well, not only to have you if you get sick or if you need healthcare, but also for the job aspect of it as well. Even though the cost of living right here in San Diego is quite high, if you look at our past videos of the cost of living, you could jump into there. We won't get into it too much. Obviously, it's a coastal city. Yes, it's right on par with some of the other coastal cities as far as cost of living in Seattle's and Miami's and a few of the other ones around the United States. But as you look at it, just within California, cost of living is kind of right on par with our neighbor right to the north, Orange County. So if you're kind of comparing those two, we're about the same, but it's a bit less than San Francisco, the Bay Area, or LA. So if you're comparing it to there, it's actually, the cost of living is a little bit less for San Diego. I watch a lot of real estate content, just kind of, learning about different areas, what's going on through the US as a whole. We have our local market as well. And when they talk about San Diego and you see the price points from other areas, yes, it obviously housing prices are quite high right here, but it's not all of these $2 million plus houses, coastal houses. There's a lot of different price points in here. Like some of the ones that we mentioned that I think are a little bit underutilized, especially if you're thinking about moving out here, is that townhome option, where a lot of them do still have some decent square footage. They have a bonus, which is a lot of amenities where, you're going to have an HOA, but a lot of them are going to have pools. There's some that are going to have like little community centers or gyms and that kind of thing. So you will get some additional amenities there. And there's a lot of these that like a lot more bang for your buck in certain areas within San Diego.
And if you are trying to move to San Diego but are looking a little bit more affordable, kind of how is it, the rule of thumb of how it works is the more coastal you are, the more expensive it is. As you go a little further east, it gets more affordable, except for Chula Vista, which is the complete opposite of that. And that just is because of age of homes and a couple other aspects. But we also do have a lot of people moving from areas where housing prices are somewhat comparable. Chris mentioned the Bay Area. Things seem cheap and affordable here compared to a lot of parts of the Bay Area too. Next up on our list is the people here in San Diego. We get over and over from people that come out and are kind of exploring to see where they want to live, how nice the people here in San Diego are. Doors being held open, lots of thank yous and hellos and good mornings. Big one that we've heard kind of recently was way less horn honking, which we don't really notice as, when we're living here.
I notice it because my wife's from the East Coast and sometimes she's like, come on, you got to lay on that thing. I'm like, let them go. They'll go. Don't worry. Maybe a little beep beep, but not laying on the horn. So,
and a lot of that, we think about it a lot that we get to be outside a lot. So that stress level goes down, the anxiety level goes down. So maybe our slow-paced life compared to a lot of other places just keeps people a little bit more calm, a little bit more chill. So you will find when you get here that people just tend to be nice in general.
Yeah, we get outdoors a lot. Obviously, so like a lot of places you have schools that are like indoors, like which we're not used to out here. Everything's mostly outdoors except for brand new schools. But nonetheless, we're outdoors a lot. The kids are outdoors a lot. We're not like stuck inside during, if you're living out in Arizona or living in Nevada or whatever, maybe, for a few months it's 100 plus outside. So you're living inside, going from AC to AC. There's no going outside to play just because it's not great. You're going to obviously be hot, but it's just dangerous too. And then also on the flip side of that, we're not have these super cold days where, not just days, but super cold months where you're inside through the entire winter. We just don't have that. And it's going outside anytime. Like back to what I said, going to the beaches in December, we'll have some gorgeous days. Like some marches are just unbelievable where you're coming out. I'm not going to say cold because you guys are watching from wherever you're like maybe it is cold there. Cold for
us.
San Diego cold.
Like
And you
Chris
just
that's like 60 to 8.
yeah, I almost had a jacket on today. We're in the shade right now. It's freezing. But nonetheless, where you are, come outside, you wake up, it's warm, it's beautiful. But as a whole, it's another benefit is a lot of the nights get cool off. So even if we have the last heat wave, it did not too much. But a lot of times where you do have these hot days during the summer, during the night times, you can pop your windows open, get that cool air coming through. A lot of people have these whole house fans that basically you turn them on. It's not like air conditioning. It sucks out all the air, you got to open a window, but it sucks in the cool air from outside, blows all the hot air out through your attic. And so it's obviously saves a lot of energy too. But that's like a great way to stay cool. But it's like, I think the cooling off at night, you have crisp mornings, heats up throughout the day. And once again, just we're outside a lot. Another reason is commutes and kind of the traffic where, once again, if we're comparing ourselves to LA, we're definitely different worlds. Like we had to go up, we went to like a real estate get together up there. When was that? A few months back? We try to avoid LA as much as we can. Because once you hit the LA border, from there all the way through, we're coming from the south, all the way through the north, it's traffic. It's weird how it happens, but literally like at that line is where you get a ton of traffic. Down in San Diego, we have our main freeways. You have definitely traffic during heavy commute times in the mornings and the afternoons in certain areas. And you'll notice as you're driving around, you're gonna find these certain areas. A lot of times where the freeways are meeting up. So where the 805 meets the 5, where the 15, 163, where just the main areas are kind of coming together. There's been a lot of, let's call it mitigation of that, or a lot of attempted to, especially up the 5 freeway. They're working on the 15 right now, adding some extra carpool lanes, adding some additional lanes going up. Now when they squeeze down, that's obviously you're going to get some more traffic.
And that's what LA is.
That's
Squeeze
what
down
LA is,
all
yes.
over the place.
Yeah, but right here, it's not, there's just so many other ways to get around too. Us living here our whole lives, we're taking side roads all the way. So maybe it takes a few extra minutes, but it's a much more calm drive. It's a much more beautiful drive. And if you have to commute to work, there's no real area that's going to be like way too far. Like I would top it out, even if during traffic times, probably like an hour. We've mentioned it as a con in the past, but it's really not that bad compared to a lot of other places.
And number 8 is there is plenty to explore here in San Diego. And it's kind of like you're on vacation a lot. I mean, a lot of our weekends are out exploring what San Diego has to offer, and it is a ton. And not only just here in San Diego, there are a ton of places to get out to quickly. Even though we're kind of in the bottom corner of the United States, there is a lot that you can get to from here in San Diego.
There's a lot of staycations, so we don't take too many big vacations. A lot of our vacations are within a few hours of here. So you could go within an hour, you could be camping up at Palomar. You have resorts within San Diego, you go stay. He just went downtown to watch the Giants. He's a Giants fan, but go downtown from North County, go downtown, stay in San Diego as your little vacation. We have Coronado. I've done, little staycations down there. You can go out to the desert. There's some more resorts out there. You can go up into like areas of Orange County. You can go further to the east for more camping and more mountains and more lakes if you want to get, just kind of away from it all. So there's a lot of different areas that are within quick distance from San Diego where you can go and have your kind of like vacation within striking distance from here.
And we talked about not having seasons, but it's really easy to get into seasons from San Diego too. You can get to Mammoth, you can get to Tahoe, you can get to Big Bear if you want to just see snow or leaves or any of those things. So even though we have our perfect weather here in San Diego, it's easy to go find that stuff too, just for, like Chris mentioned, quick little trips from that are either drives or quick flights. And speaking of jumping off points for flights, San Diego Airport is not the biggest airport by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a good one for getting to a lot of different places and to getting to airports where you can go really international. So San Diego does have international flights. They're just not as abundant as, say, an LAX up in LA.
I'm finding them right now.
Chris is going through the...
hold on, scrolling. There's a lot of straight shots domestic. Albuquerque, Denver, Kansas City.
Hawaii is the big one. If you like vacationing to Hawaii and you don't live on the West Coast now, it's a 5-hour flight direct to pretty much any island you want to get to out of San Diego too.
And then other international, you got Calgary, London, Los Cabos, Montreal, Munich, Puerto Vallarta, Tokyo, Toronto, Vancouver. So you got
more
all
than
those
I
right there. Yeah, we got a little bit of internet. It is an international airport, but
And there's also some commuter options. The San Diego commuter terminal right now is getting a whole revamp and rehaul, but you have Palomar Airport, which has some kind of commuter options. You've got John Wayne just up the road in Orange County, and then also you have the TJ Airport in Tijuana, which a lot of people will go to the border. It's an easy cross to fly anywhere in Mexico.
And if you guys are thinking about taking a flight out here to explore, maybe you're thinking about moving out here, as a quick reminder, we love making these videos, but we are also a real estate team. We're the guys who answer the calls, texts, and emails. You can see our number popping up right now. Feel free to reach out. We want to help you with your real estate needs, make sure you're taken care of, and get you dialed in. So call, text, or email. We got your back when making the move here to San Diego.